Great to have you with us. Please like, subscribe, and share. Now, we also got to talk about one more story. We talked about how unabashedly evil the propaganda media is, how they lie to you over and over and over again. And what is more indicative of that than what is happening right now with Jake Tapper and this ridiculous book tour that he is on? Jake Tapper, who shilled for Joe Biden for years, saying how competent he was, actually insulting people on his show who dared call out the fact that Biden was a walking vegetable. Oh, no. He wouldn't have any of that. Well, now he's trying to do a tour running around saying, it was the Democrats' fault. They hid it from us. And he's trying to make money from this book. Frankly, I hope this book crashes and burns, because this is a complete testament to how evil and dishonest Jake Tapper and the rest of the globalist media is. So check this out as we dive into Jake Tapper starting his tour. Before we do that, please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this channel with everybody that you know. Let's get into it.
It's very clearly a cognitive decline. Okay. That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You are no app. I can't. This is so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was.
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses diagnosing politicians from afar. In our 2020 lead today, President Trump's niece, who is a clinical psychologist, is calling on the American Psychiatric Association to drop the so-called Goldwater rule, which bars mental health professionals from diagnosing public figures that they have not examined in person. Mary Trump says that psychiatrists, quote, know what's wrong with my uncle. And she says it's time they tell voters. And Mary Trump joins us now. She's also the author of Too Much and Never Enough, How My Family Created.
So here's Jake Tapper shilling for Biden, absolutely insulting Laura Trump, trying to call her out when everybody in America and across the world knew that Joe Biden was cognitively declining. Anybody knew it. Jake Tapper knew it. But Jake Tapper had an agenda. That agenda was driven by his puppet masters, those who pay his salary, and he's an ideologue to boot. He was all in. He was all in on the scam. And so he was willing to go to any length to prove that Biden was okay, to say that Biden was okay, to call out people who tried to ring the alarm that Biden was not okay. He even created alternative stories, bringing on a disgruntled member of the Trump family to try to paint a picture that no, Trump's the one with cognitive issues. This is absolutely ridiculous, and it's completely disingenuous, and it's an out and out lie. Let's check in. Here's Jake Tapper shilling for oatmeal brains.
The world's most dangerous man.
A few years later.
Tuesday, it's called Original Sin, President Biden's decline, its cover-up, and his disastrous choice to run again. The book is drawn from more than 200 interviews with mostly Democratic insiders, almost all of them after the election. And one of the things we were shocked to learn, the White House physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, talked about how if Biden had one more fall, he might actually need to be in a wheelchair. But this was all put off until after the election. They did not want images of Biden in a wheelchair out there. You might recall that Biden started to have problems with a shuffling gait that the administration was very sensitive about. There was a time when they started having people walk with him to Marine One. Those people were there to kind of like hide the fact that his gait was as bad as it was, and also have them there in case he stumbled. The White House would say that this gait issue was because Biden had fallen after the election of 2020, but the truth is that it didn't have to do with that. Dr. O'Connor's medical report said that that injury was complete.
So here's Tapper blowing the whistle on Biden, saying, oh, it was the Democrats' fault. Oh, it was the White House's fault. I didn't know. None of us knew. They hid it from us. No, they didn't. They didn't hide it from you. You were there. You got to see him firsthand. You watched all the videos. The CNN took all the videos. They knew exactly what was going on, and this is what you were saying back then. Let's play this clip now in its entirety.
Every time he comes on stage or they turn to him, I'm like, Joe, can you get it out? Let's get the words out, Joe. You kind of feel bad for him.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have
to watch somebody on stage search for
that's so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses diagnosing politicians from afar. Plenty of people have diagnosed your father from afar, and I'm sure it offends you. Your father-in-law from afar. I'm sure it offends you. You don't have any standing to say.
I'm not diagnosing him. What I'm saying, Jake,
you just talked
is
about
that
a cognitive
we can
decline.
See that Joe Biden is
one last question for you, Laura. You can't
times on stage, and it's very concerning to a lot of people that this could be the leader of the free world.
Okay.
That is all I'm saying. I genuinely feel
Laura
sorry
Trump.
for.
Everybody knew he was cognitively declining. Everybody could see it. You don't have to be a doctor to recognize it. Anybody who's got an elderly relative that has any kind of Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or early onset dementia or any of it could look at Biden and go, yeah, that dude's declining fast. That dude is got cognitive issues. He's got something, whatever it is, Parkinson's, early onset Alzheimer's, early onset dementia, you name it, he's got it. Everybody knew. Jake Tapper knew too. But Jake Tapper was the ideologue and the globalist propaganda mouthpiece. Jake Tapper was never going to say anything because they were trying to get Biden to win an election. It was only after the debate that anybody even started talking about, on the left, Biden's cognitive decline. And then they had to shill for Kamala Harris because why didn't she warn the world? This entire thing stinks to high heaven. Now, let's check out a couple more clips with Tapper. Again, Tapper the tap dance around the Biden cognitive issue now that he's trying to make money with his ridiculous book.
Cognitive decline. President Biden embraces his stutter, talking about it, while Trump mocks it, exaggerates it, belittles it. He's sharp physically. I mean, mentally. Yeah. I think the question is physically, right?
Right.
More so?
Right.
Right. And the guy who's his chief opponent is only 3 or 4 years younger than him.
Exactly.
I mean, you have questioned President Biden's age, mental fitness, ability to lead. Of those supporting Biden, you said, quote, shame on all of you pretending everything is okay. You're leading us and him into a disaster. Do you worry that you damaged him at all? I don't doubt that you got hugs and handshakes behind closed doors today, and maybe even publicly, some of them because they like you personally. But I've heard a lot of really nasty stuff about you from your Democratic colleagues. Sure. I mean, just like, what is he thinking? Exercise in narcissism. I mean, false claims to the Wall Street Journal about President Biden's mental fitness and acuity. He's 81, and his memory, it doesn't seem great. It's not horrible, but I don't understand the outrage. Quote, behind closed doors, Biden shows signs of slipping, unquote. The Wall Street Journal is owned by News Corp, which is run by the Murdochs. Beyond the headline, there is some critical nuance here. The article is mostly based on observations of Republicans, with former Speaker Kevin McCarthy the only one going on the record. They do note in the article that most of the criticism comes from Republicans. Have you heard?
Here's Tap Dance Tapper, Jake Crapper, as Resnap affectionately names him, shilling over and over and over, absolutely saying Joe Biden is fine, Joe Biden is great. All these reports, they're fake news. They're what they call them, deep fakes. They're deep fakes. That's just Republicans. It's just Republicans trying to paint Joe Biden in a bad light. But Joe Biden's great. Joe Biden's strong. Joe Biden's awesome. No, Jake Tapper, you cannot now go out and make money from a book by doing a 180 when you knew all along what the truth was. You were lying then, and you're only telling the truth now, partial truth, because you can make money. This is absolutely disgusting. But this should tell you who the mainstream media are, the propaganda talking head mouthpieces. They are disgusting. No matter how much repulsion, disdain, hatred, or disgust you have for them, it is not enough. I assure you, they deserve all of your fury because they have lied to you, not just on this issue, they have lied to you for decades. One last clip on this nonsense.
That he had a stiffened gait caused in part by wear and tear to his spine, but that no special treatment was necessary and that it had not worsened. Adding that, yes, there were physical changes as he got older, but evidence of aging is not evidence of mental incapacity.
No, that's true. Evidence of aging is not evidence of mental incapacity. Evidence of mental incapacity is evidence of mental incapacity. Obvious mental incapacity. Joe Biden wandering off stage. Joe Biden can't get off stage. Joe Biden can't stand up. Joe Biden can't walk downstairs. Joe Biden can't walk upstairs. Joe Biden standing at the G7, wandering off, talking to the trees. Had to be pulled back to the photo op, had to be pulled back on stage, had to be helped off stage by Obama. It's just utterly ridiculous.
We're joined now by CNN chief media analyst Brian Stelter and CNN political commentator Jamal Simmons. Jamal is also a former deputy assistant to President Biden. He served as communications director for Vice President Harris. Jamal, how are you reacting to these revelations that we're learning about in this book, specifically this wheelchair, I guess, speculation that he might need one? And what did you hear while you were there?
I got to tell you, it's extraordinarily surprising that they would be that concerned. You know, I was there until the end of 2022. I think I left January of 2023. So a lot of the reporting picks up after that point that there were some real concerns after 2023. The president that I saw when I was there was someone who was absolutely slower. He was absolutely somebody who, you know, walked with kind of that stiffened gait, I think is the word they used. But he seemed to be pretty on top of it mentally. He was able to engage. He told jokes. He was, you know, he was answering questions from constituents. He was making, you know, really light of a lot of situations and seemed like he was pretty engaged. So what I would say is that I understand why in the winter of 2022, the president turned.
Check out Stelter.
There were some real concerns.
I just noticed this.
I think is the word they
Check
used.
out Stelter right here. I mean, looking down going, oh my gosh, how am I going to lie about this? Okay, what do I say? Because everybody knows that Joe Biden is oatmeal brains. What do I say? How do I do this? I mean, their body language shows exactly who they are. Yes, this guy met Biden. And yes, Biden was slower, but Biden's on top of him. No, he wasn't. Everybody knew he wasn't. You could see it from the way he talked, the way he walked, the way he looked. Everything from his facial expression to his gait to his physical impairment to the way he talked. He could not put a sentence together. Everybody knew the man was incapacitated. Everybody around the world knew it. Hence, probably one of the reasons that that when he showed up in Saudi Arabia, the king of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, said, "I'm not mean that idiot at the plane. Heck no. First of all, he's an installed puppet. Second of all, I have no respect for him. Third, America under him is nothing to be feared. And fourth, I don't even know if he's going to say anything intelligent." Of course, he didn't meet him. He didn't respect him for a whole host of reasons. One of them was because he was mentally declined. And now you've got Jake Tapper out running around trying to sell a book saying, I'm blowing the whistle on Joe Biden being mentally incapacitated while he was president. Really? Joe Biden was incapacitated the day he became president. And we knew it back then. He campaigned from his basement. But none of these people wanted to talk truth when it meant that it would put Democrats out of power or even in a bad light. They never wanted to do that. Now that the Democrats have moved on from Biden, it's okay to trash him. And they will. And they will trash him to make money, not for truth. There's nothing to do with truth. This has everything to do with how much money can I make? And it's absolutely disgusting. That's who these people are. Never forget it. The mainstream propaganda media lies to you. If their mouth is moving, they are lying. They never tell the truth. They may at times tell a truth. They never tell the truth. They never tell the story. They will always tell you a story, and it's a fabricated narrative. Don't ever forget that. Whatever level of disdain you have for them, I assure you it is not enough. But thanks for rolling up. Really appreciate you spending some time with me today. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, God is good, and he is sovereign. It'll all be good in the end. Till I catch you next time.